Hello everyone and welcome to Watch Complications. I am Brian. This is a watch review video of the Vario Silver Empire. Before I get into the details on that, make sure you subscribe if you haven't. And I also want to give you a couple little snippets of what's coming up. First, I want to show you a custom dial, custom watch project that you're going to see some content on soon on both the blog and the site. And I want to give you at least a sneak peek at this. I'm really having a great time working on this particular watch. I want to give you just an example, up close look of this dial. This is just one of the test dials. It's got some imperfections and stuff, but this is going to be a project that I share with you about how I've gone about building it, from cutting this custom window for the second time zone to doing the printing, and this is hand applied loom. So I can't wait to show you more about this project that I'm building for a client. That'll be in the custom dials and custom watches series. Probably a little bit of both. So that's one thing. Second is, I've got a great incoming this week that I'll be reviewing fairly soon. It's a Grand Seiko SBGE 249 LE. It's a spring drive GMT movement. I cannot wait to get this watch into my possession, and I'll have a wonderful review. And with it being a Grand Seiko, the up-close macro shots are going to be spectacular. So I can't wait on that. But for this video, if you recall, not that long ago, I had a how-to video on swapping out, switching, replacing a hand-wound watch movement. And that was because I got sent a Vario Silver Empire by Ivan, who is the owner and operator of the micro brand Vario. It's based in Singapore. And the review watch I got wasn't working. The movement had been abused in some way, either overwound or took a hard hit or something. But Ivan said, if you can fix it, then you can keep it. And so I ordered up a replacement movement and I got it working. And now this is the proper review. So thank you, Ivan, for letting me have this watch. And this is going to give you an up-close review, the specs and information about this Vario watch. Now, before I get into it, I want to say one thing about it. Now, wrist check for today. I'm wearing black today. Got my black glasses, got my black shirt, so I'm wearing my Christopher Ward C8 Power Reserve chronometer. I love this watch, and that has the SH21 movement. It's got a 5-day power reserve. Love it. Aviation style watch, one of the biggest in my collection in terms of the size, 44 millimeter, but I got a review on that as well. The only reason I'm not wearing the Vario today is because I'm wearing black and not blue. If I was wearing blue, I'd probably be wearing the Vario. So I have a selection of watches in my collection that are, blue and silver tones, white tones, and things like that. And you know how much you like a watch by how much it works itself into your rotation, right? You can only wear one main watch through the day. I mean, yeah, I do multiple switches through the day, but you know how much you like a watch by how much you're wearing it. And I have found myself, not just for review purposes, I've had this for a couple weeks in working order, and I set it in my watch box, and then how much I pick it up, I'll intentionally wear it a few days for review purposes and giving you some feedback on the feel and fit and all that stuff. But I just set it there, and if it finds itself naturally coming into my rotation on multiple days a week, then I know I've got to keep it. I know I've got a great watch, and this watch is getting quite a bit of wrist time. It's starting to beat out some of my others in terms of just sort of a daily wear watch, and I'll go into all the reasons why. So let's get to our first up-close view, and I'll give you the specs and talk about what I like about this watch so much.
All right, so here we have the Vario Silver Empire. There are a few other versions. There's a white and a black. Now, if I was to pick one of these, I would have probably picked one of the other versions, but this was the review sample, just because there's not as much contrast between the numerals and the outside ring on this dial. But you know what? It's legible, and I love the Art Deco style of this. But before I get too far ahead of myself, this came with two straps. It came with this blue strap. Now, I don't know if this is a Vario strap that was included with some of these. It doesn't have any Vario branding on it. What I've seen these on more often is this sort of tweed style knitted material. And you can see it's got the Vario name on there and on the buckle. This is certainly a design or style that will fit for some people. It's not really my thing. Maybe it will be more appropriate in like the fall, winter. At least that's the way it feels to me. It is quite thick, but it's an interesting design, certainly unique. You don't see this kind of a strap style or design very often, so this will hit with some people and miss with others, and something to keep in mind. I like it much better on this other strap that came in the package with it for me. Now, I can't take pictures or speak to the packaging on these Vario watches because this did not come with the original box, but this is a nice blue strap that really matches with the blue hands. Now, in terms of the specs, this is about 54 grams, give or take. The size is wonderful. If you like a little bit of a dressier watch on the smaller side, this is about 38 millimeter diameter, and it's about 11.2, 11.3 millimeter height. So it's nice and slim as far as things go. Of course, a lot of watches are in that 11 millimeter range, give or take, but the size is 38 millimeter diameter, which is nice and low profile in terms of, simplicity and a nice small understated look on the wrist, particularly with a nice suit, whether that's a gray suit, a blue suit. So this is great for those sorts of occasions. Now, the movement in this is Miyota 6T33, and the one that came in this originally is yellow. So here's the original movement. Again, you can go back and look at my how-to video on replacing a hand-wound watch movement, in which you'll see me replace the movement on this watch. So you do get a silver and yellow contrast, silver and gold contrast on the reverse of this watch. Ivan did tell me that some of these Empire watches have the yellow version of the 6T33, some of them have the silver white version of it. And so you can see what this looks like a little bit more up close. I just ordered this up from a supply company. I have not regulated the movement I put in it, but it's really a skeletonized movement of sorts and nice and small. It's 8 3/4 in terms of the size. So it's a smaller movement, but that's because it's a smaller watch, 38 millimeter. And if you want to know why I had to swap it and the specifics of that, just look at the earlier how-to video. But I wanted to maintain the original look of the watch as it came to me, so I could have gotten the white version, but I stuck with the gold. So again, I'll show you this more on the macro lens, but it is a Miyota 6T33. You can see it says Japan there, Miyota Co. I'll show you those up close. So sapphire crystal. It is mechanical hand-wound movement. As far as my testing has gone, the power reserve has lasted about 30 hours, give or take, which is fairly close to the spec. And so you're not going to have 2 days worth of power reserve in this. So you'll want to keep it wound up, basically wind it every day you're going to use it. If you're using it multiple days in a row, just get up in the morning to put it on, wind it up, and then put it on and go for the day. So it does have sapphire, designed in Singapore, which is where Vario is based. Being a dress watch, it's only got 5 atmospheres water resistance, so not a lot. That's because this is a watch that isn't meant to get super wet. The crown is small, but enough to do its job. It's easy to interact with and wind. This particular watch, in terms of the power reserve, you get about 20 spins of the crown, and that'll fully wind the watch, and you can feel the tension. Pretty easy to interact with setting the time. There's only one position, pull it out for a time set. It's a non-hacking movement, so the seconds hand isn't going to stop. And whenever you got it wherever you want it, you just push the crown back in. So simple, you get up, wind, set the time, and go. So I do like that simplicity about it, and just nice for a dress watch. So in terms of the dial, again, it's this Art Deco in terms of the numerals, which is interesting. It's different. I like the look, and one, it's simple with the numerals, and then you've got the hour markers being sort of bigger circles, and then the minute markers being a little bit smaller. And then you have the applied logo just under 12 o'clock that is also applied and silver. One of my favorite features about this watch was the hands. They are blued hands. The hour and minute hand are hollow. I like this counterbalance on the second hand. They really stand out when you take it apart. Again, if you want to see what these hands look like out from under the crystal, go back and look at the how-to video. They really take on an extremely bright and intense character when there's not a crystal between you, your eyes, and the hands. They still maintain a lot of that under the crystal, but it's a unique experience looking at them, I guess I'd say, under the crystal, without the crystal in front of you. But there's this wonderful shade of blue, which picks up light, as you move it around. You kind of see there. Crystal, again, sapphire. It's nice. It's, and durable. It doesn't pick up too many smudges and whatnot. And yeah, just a great design and example of simple is functional. You've got the guilloche sort of pattern on the interior, and actually this dial has sort of 3 layers to its construction. It's got the sort of the brass backing, and then you have the guilloche layer that's got the pattern etched into the dial, and then you have this ring that has the applied numerals and markers on it on the exterior. So it's kind of 3 layers sandwiched on top of each other for the dial construction. And I guess one thing I failed to mention just a second ago is that for this, even though it's 38 millimeter, you would almost normally have an 18 millimeter strap, but this is actually a 20 millimeter strap, which I like because it makes it appear just a hair wider than it really is, and because I have a lot more options when it comes to straps in my own collection. Whenever I have 20 millimeter, I have a lot more 20 millimeter straps than I do 18 millimeter straps. So it has a lot more options for me to choose from in my own pile of straps. So there's beautiful brushing and combinations of polished and brushing on this. It's really a wonderfully unique case and lug design that I don't recall coming across before. I'm sure there's something else out there that's got some similar touches, but it's got lines and curves that are, again, in that sort of Art Deco style. And so you can see here, there's places where it looks kind of boxed, and there are lines that define those transitions. And then you also have polished surfaces as well. So you can see it's got this nice vertical brushing around the sides, and then both when you go toward the back, you switch to a polished surface, and then you've got the information there. And again, if you go up, you switch to polished around the top of the lugs, side of the case, and the bezel. So a nice combination between brushed and polished surfaces. I love looking at watches with the macro lens. You really get a really good sense of the care or the time or the quality that went into a particular watch. And that's particularly important when it comes to micro brands. And this is one where it's hard to find any outstanding imperfections. And I've reviewed others where it's pretty easy to see when you get up close that it was quickly done, or something might be scratched a little bit, or there might be a particle or something inside the case. That's not the case with this particular micro brand. It's pretty well done from a quality perspective. At least that's the way it seems to me with this particular example. And you can see that wonderful shade of blue even better up close. Keep in mind, I've had this one taken apart. So I actually took the movement and dial out of the case, took the hands off, took the dial off, swapped out the movement, and put it all back together, and did my best to clean the case out and everything when I put it back together. So this has had some of my work in it as well in terms of the maintenance of it. One of the things I like is that this looks like it has good depth to it. You can see there's a nice amount of space and height inside the case, which of course gives rooms for the hands, but also the layering of the dial between this outer ring with the numerals and the guilloche layer in the center. And you can see that that's a different layer there. You see the applied logo, Vario. Of course, I like the name too. It's, I don't know, something about it. Just like it. Just like it. Good choice, Ivan. Love the Art Deco font and design of this. Again, the silver on silver is not going to be for everybody, and if it's not, then I would recommend going with the White Empire, or the one that has black on it. So I mean, there's a few variations that you could choose from. Again, the crown is pretty simple. It can feel a little bit hard to grasp at times, but it's okay. Small dress watch, so you don't want a big gnarly crown anyway. again, everything looks fine up close, from the pattern to the hands. Trying to show you a little bit of the color there. You can see the applied markers are all well done. Just a great, simple, all-around watch. I really do like this, and I like the brushing. I'll show it to you on this side. Get a little bit better with the lighting. See, it's got that vertical brushing on the side, and then the polished top and bottom. Let me show you this movement a little bit more up close, so you can see. Sort of standard design here on the back. It's, of course, got a screw-on case back, and the writing around the side. This is a fairly typical exhibition case back, so not a lot of difference here compared to some other brands and whatnot. But of course, stainless steel, mechanical movement, sapphire, Singapore. I like that he called out Singapore on this. There's some good stuff happening there in terms of watches. So you can see it is a Miyota movement, Japan, 6T33, 17 jewels, sort of your standard hand-wound mechanical movement in the yellow. See the balance wheel and escapement going at it there. I don't like gold look that much, the yellow look that much. I have the Marlowe Le Monde Panda chronograph, but it provides a good, yellow silver contrast, and so it's not a look I like on watches. I don't like gold watches and gold bracelets and that kind of thing, but I am sort of starting to like, or at least it's starting to grow on me, this yellow and silver combo on the exhibition back on watches. So there's that. Again, I've been told that there are a number of these Empire watches out there that have the silver/white version of this movement. So if you order one, you may get the yellow, you may get the white. So that's the up close look at the Vario Empire. Just a great all-around watch. I've really enjoyed wearing it. It is super slim, super comfortable. Let me show it to you on my wrist, and then we will wrap things up. All right, here we are with this watch on the wrist. My wrist, for reference, is about 7.5 inches, 19 centimeters. So, fairly average, I would say, in terms of my wrist. 38 millimeter diameter and a little over 11 millimeter height. So you can see it's got what looks like at least a reasonable height to it. It's still extremely slim and will, slide under any sort of cuff, but it has certainly a smaller dress style diameter. If you're wanting to just go for pure simplicity, a watch that tells the hour and the minutes and has a nice understated casual/dress look, this is something that's definitely in that category and from a nice macro brand. Love it on this blue leather strap that also has sort of like a white, it's almost like an off-white stitching to it. And it's extremely comfortable. Feels, super lightweight, against only 54 grams. Hugs the wrist nicely. Has that Art Deco design with the lugs, but still quite comfortable. Crazy comfortable, to be honest. It's extremely comfortable. This particular strap tapers quite a bit. So yeah, and I can zoom out a little bit here and show you the craziness that is my workbench. Got lots of stuff going on, but give you a nice profile look. I love the transition between the vertical brushing and the polish on top. Goes well with the dial design, the numerals. I love the pronounced height, the look or sense of that on the inside of the case. Does look nice. It really is just a great watch. I'm really happy with it, and I like being able just to grab this, wind it real quick in 20 winds, and just go out the door, set it real quickly. And again, how much I like a watch is not something I have to think about. It is obvious by how much it's finding itself on my wrist throughout a week, and after having this in working shape for a few weeks, it is obviously something that I like because I'm wearing it quite a bit, not just for review purposes. That's important to know. A lot of people get watches in, they have them for a day or two, take a look at them, review them, send them back out, or flip them. That is not the case with this watch. I liked it enough. I fixed it and and I am finding that I wear it quite a bit. It's sitting next to my watch box most nights because almost every other day I'm finding myself putting it on. Now, I will get more balanced with it in the rotation as we go forward, but truly enjoying the simplicity and the great look and design of this watch. Not overcomplicated, straightforward, you know what it is, and just beautiful. I like it, and that is the Vario Silver Empire.
Well, thanks for sticking around and watching this review video of the Vario Silver Empire. Again, Vario's been around since about 2016. This is one of their earlier watches, the Empire. I believe there are still some left for purchase, but it really is a great daily wear. I'm glad I have it, and it's going to be in my collection for quite a while. It's just a watch that's easy to pick up, wind, set, and just take off for the day. It's super comfortable, great dimensions, and a perfect little dress/casual watch. Thank you, Ivan, so much for sending it my way. I'm glad I was able to revive it and get it working, and I really like having this watch. It's just an excellent addition to the collection, and I look forward to seeing what else Vario has in the future. So again, subscribe if you haven't, ring the bell if you want updates, follow me on Instagram at watch_complications, and check out the blog, watchcomplications.com. I'll see you in the next video, which may be custom dials, and it might be this review on the Grand Seiko, but stick around and keep on watching the channel. Thanks all my subscribers.